Here on Kiwi, time to get unscrewed. I think things already are here in the Kiwi studio with Jason Bryant at unscrewed.co.nz. Morning, Jason.
Good morning, Wammo. This
Hey.
morning, just wine only. That's the only topic we're going to cover.
Only covering.
We can't
wine.
agree on anything else this morning,
No.
so it's just wine. We're going to keep it clean, lean, and mean about wine.
Yeah, if you were flying the wall in the studio just a second ago, man.
I tell you what, you would have been.
Yeah.
There would have been phone calls and emails and text messages and
Yeah.
tweets, Facebook posts.
Would not have been.
It would have been
pretty at all.
You'd have been inundated answering them all day, Wammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, me? What about you?
Well, I didn't start it.
All right, anyway, let's move on from.
Let's see. We
from
can't even
that.
agree now.
No.
Wine. Pinot. I thought I've just released my top kind of like 12. I couldn't do 10 because at 10 you have to be so tight and lean about kind of who you include, who you exclude.
What is it about the number 10? Why is it things always in tens?
Well, I don't know. So I
Top five, top
bucked the
10.
trend and went 12.
Which is untenable, really, isn't it?
What, 12?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's not 10.
Well, yeah, I know, but so how many people were at the...
Well, if it's not
minus
10,
Jesus.
it's untenable.
It's how many people were the disciples around the dinner table in the Last Supper.
Mm.
So 12's a nice round number for me.
How did religion come into this?
Well, because it's wine.
I'm just trying to point out
He turned water into wine.
that it's not 10,
Yeah, I know it's not 10.
so it's untenable.
Untenable. Okay, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
Bit slow, ain't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir. I didn't get that. See, I'm irate. Pinot Noir, Central Otago,
The anger
Rockburn.
is clouding your vision.
Yeah, I know. I can't see kind of Mount Albert. Yeah.
I can see Mount Albert from my house.
I can't see Mount... Oh, actually, I can see Mount Albert from our kitchen. Kind of. Yeah, Central Otago, Pinot. Time to get back on the track. So they've moved away from the Syrah-like wines that they were making, the kind of Hawke's Bay Syrah that they were making, and they've now refined, reduced the amount of oak, better quality fruit, and making it as a Pinot Noir, which is an elegant grape, thin-skinned.
Yes.
So it needs to be delicate. It's more feminine than masculine, and it
Likes the cold?
it likes kind of like this diurnal difference between day and night. So kind of hot days it can cope with, and cold nights it can cope with.
It likes being treated
And-
rough by the conditions.
Yeah, but it doesn't really like frost at all. Not vines just don't like frost at all.
But that's ridiculous.
And also
Because-
kind of humidity as well. It struggles with because
Central Otago must have the harshest
yeah, I
frost
know.
in the
So
country.
they have a short growing season, but because of the heat and the diurnal difference between day and night, they develop quickly, and it's an early ripening grape. So that's why they're on the viticultural edge down in Central Otago, and go further south and they stop growing.
Yeah.
And you get kind of very kind of loose set, and yes, it's unpleasant. But
Sure, that might change over time, eh?
well, you
Down
know,
south.
the world has just had its hottest year
Yeah,
on record.
nuts.
So it's only going to get hotter, right?
Yeah.
The time that I was in the UK, didn't rain. I was out in a t-shirt in kind of mid-November. Never happened before.
Balmy.
Balmy, exactly. Don't go to Fiji.
Yeah.
And
And apparently, even with all that, the UK is only headed for its 11th warmest on record this year. The UK specifically, not the whole world.
yeah. But anyway, there's a thin skin, so it doesn't like kind of humidity, so it doesn't like any kind of bacteria, fungus kind of creeping around the vineyard, and so you have to treat it well, treat it nicely, treat it like a lady.
Keep Mr. Fungus away.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I applaud, that look at these glasses. I mean, we're all class this morning.
We've got a large, very large, I suppose that's a red wine glass, and a cocktail glass this morning. That's all I could find. Sorry? Cocktail glass for me.
Cocktail
Thank you.
glass for you.
It's so classy. It's a chipped cocktail glass as well.
Well, I tell you what, we're in the rough neck of the woods here.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite, because it's such a feminine wine, and it should be served in such an elegant glass. But I can already smell the fruit from this. It's filled the studio. It's that kind of ripe raspberry character.
Oh yeah. Very nice. It
Ras-
does now 2010. Still quite young.
Still quite young, but with Pinot Noir you tend to... The cellaring time for New Zealand Pinot Noir right now is kind of generally under 10 years.
Yeah.
So you can drink them fairly early. Now this is that Rockburn do 12 barrels, which is their premium label, which is only made in very, very good years. And then they do the Rockburn. And then there's a label which is called Devil's Staircase, which is the sister label of Rockburn. So they do kind of 3 labels. And so they've gone into kind of this 3-barrel Sauvignon, and there's also Rieslings as well, which, so they've really gone down the kind of single vineyard, small quality fruit wines, and exceptional kind of wines in the barrel that they identify, and they go, okay, that will make really good kind of like 12 barrels. Priced at kind of like usually about $45, can be found for about $35. So it's a good kind of Christmas wine as well.
Yeah.
If you want to splash out, and that's the time, Christmas.
Very cool part of the country, Bannockburn, right next to Cromwell.
Right next to Cromwell. And this is the thing I really like about Central Otago, the landscape compared to the wine. You get a really nice, soft, fruity, velvety wine, and you get this rough, rugged, raw kind of landscape. The juxtaposition between the two, for me, I find fascinating.
And you got all this wild thyme.
Yep. So you do get that kind of dried herb kind of character through.
And gooseberries.
And cherries down there.
Yeah.
Cherries, for me, you'll get cherry and you get raspberry characters, and also you get that dried herb. And I was always taught in school to say herb rather than herb.
That's the US way.
US, and it's creeping in over here. And it really annoys me. Even at school, they teach it herb.
Yeah.
And H.
I'm terrible.
Rather than H.
I'm terrible for. I don't do that, but I do say. I don't know. I prefer the US way of saying. I'd like to take that route, please, rather than that route. I like saying route.
Route. Route. It's a router to me rather than a router.
Yeah.
Because it has a different connotation.
Well, it does.
But my friends criticise me for saying data.
Data.
Data over there.
Data.
And I said it a few times for myself, and then kind of after.
Data.
Yeah, exactly. But I know I like route. En route is French, so we're en route to somewhere.
Yeah, maybe I say route probably mainly in that context, but often I find myself saying route in certain other ways. I don't know. Depends on where it comes up.
The hand tool, the power tool, is a router.
Power tool?
Yeah, there's a power tool called a router.
What does it do?
It makes little roots in wood.
Or routes?
Or routes, if you want to call it that way.
And what do you call it? A router?
A router. Yeah.
Okay.
So you got a router as a modem, and you got a router as a power tool, which all the masculine people out there will kind of identify with. And then you're en route to somewhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on route to drink this.
And I'm en route to drink this as well. So I get this kind of plum character. Plums are coming in season right now. I get this real plum on the nose, mixed with a bit of cedar, mixed with a bit of raspberry, mixed with a slight bit of kind of golden, is it merino cherry? What do they call them?
Something slightly smoky in there as well.
Yeah. So that would be the kind of the barrel. And then at the end you get that herb character with an H.
But yeah, the cherries, absolutely. Really nice. Light colour as well. Raspberries.
It packs a punch in your mouth. It's kind of like fruit burst.
There's a bit of tannins in there, yeah?
Yeah, there is kind of like that smooth tannin there.
Quite dry.
And that's one of the things that I like. Even though the fruit is quite sweet, the finish is quite dry. So there's not that much residual sugar left in there. I quite like it. It's quite a light wine as well. Even though you get that fruit burst kind of on the right, as soon as you put it in your mouth, it just erupts with this kind of primary fruit characters of the cherries, of the plums, of the raspberries, and then you get a bit of spice, get a bit of herb, then it finishes dry, and you get that drying sensation. And that's what I like. This wine 5 years ago would have been a lot fuller.
Yeah.
It would have been really spicy, full, so it's nice that they've dialed it back. They've understood the terroir that they're in, and they're making quality wine. And it goes through a lot of their kind of like premium labels. They've really got the handle on how to make wine now. They've also got this guy Malcolm who's making their wine. So
good on Malcolm. It is the Rockburn Central Otago Pinot Noir 2010.
And we didn't even speak about anything else, which is quite nice, apart from roots and routes
and stuff.
Yeah,
and 10s and 12s. Unscrewed.co.nz.
89 points.
89. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty darn good.
Find this as a video once more up at unscrewed.co.nz and Jason_Bryant on Twitter.